At the company's celebration party, my wife's newly hired male assistant acted like a spoiled child toward her and insisted on seeing the prosthesis on my leg. My wife didn't hesitate and asked the security guard to hold me down. She rudely tore off the prosthesis and handed it to the young assistant. The assistant looked at it and said with disgust, "It turns out that without the prosthesis, my brother is just a good-for-nothing waste. How pitiful." He sarcastically threw my prosthesis into the trash can outside the door. I was about to argue with my wife, but she stepped forward and pushed me to the ground. "I warn you, today is the celebration of his first day at work. You'd better be sensible and don't make trouble." Looking at the two of them snuggling together, I smiled with relief, took off the ring on my hand, and threw it into the trash can, then turned and left. I didn't want either the ring or myself anymore. In full view of everyone, I took off the ring from my ring finger, threw it into the trash can, then smiled at the people looking at each other in bewilderment, and said, "Enjoy your food and drink. I'll leave first." I picked up the prosthesis from the ground and limped away. At this moment, I was just a down-and-out man. I noticed the anger on Astrid's face from the corner of my eye. But I ignored it. I left the hotel, took out my cell phone, and called my good friend Michael. "Are you still hiring? I'll quit my job in 2 days and come find you. Will you take me in?" Michael laughed. "Ha ha ha. Okay, I can't wait for you to come. Then we can start a business together. And it will definitely go a long way." Michael didn't ask why I quit my job. This was a tacit understanding we had for many years. When we were in college, he and I were both computer majors. We agreed to develop software and games together that year, and we won many awards and competitions. After graduation, Michael invited me to start a business in another city. But to marry Astrid, I chose to work for her family's company. Michael's business was very successful, but I was always mediocre in the company. He invited me many times, hoping I would work with him, but I refused each time to stay with Astrid. But I don't know when everything changed. Astrid changed too much for an intern who just joined the company. Now I think about it, maybe there's no point in staying. When I got home, I put the prosthesis back on my leg and pounded the sore parts. At that moment, my phone received a message. I clicked it and saw it was a video sent by Astrid's assistant, Jonathan. The background seemed to be a bar. Astrid stood in front of the camera, twisting her body and posing seductively. When she looked at the camera, her eyes were full of tenderness. The background was noisy, with people cheering. With the dynamic rhythm and drums in the bar, Astrid became more aroused. She sat directly on Jonathan's lap and twisted her body toward me. My breathing stalled. Astrid never liked bars, let alone dancing on other men. Because of an accident, I lost my right leg. From then on, Astrid avoided mentioning activities that would upset me. She would gently sit beside me, massage my leg, and hold me in her arms. At that time, she was warm, like the sun. "Brian, don't worry. If your legs are sore, just tell me, and I'll massage you." My heart melted then. I swore to love her forever. But now she was sitting on another man, doing shameless actions, and allowing him to mock my disability in public. I laughed at myself and turned off my phone. Promises weren't to be taken seriously. I stood up with difficulty. The room was terrifyingly quiet. Even my prosthesis made a metallic echo when I stepped on the ground. Everything reminded me I was incomplete. I opened the closet and packed my few clothes. In the early hours, Astrid returned, seeing me on the sofa watching TV. Her face was covered with anger. "What are you doing? I sent you a message to come back. Why did you run home?" In the past, I obeyed her every request. But this time, I didn't want to be ignored. I picked up my phone and opened our chat. It was mostly my messages. Astrid rarely replied anymore. At the bottom was her short message, "Get back here." I put down my phone calmly and said, "I'm sorry, I didn't look at my phone." Astrid strode over, pointed at my nose, and cursed. "Brian, what do you mean? Do you know how embarrassed I was by your behavior today? You're a grown man, jealous of a kid like Jonathan. Don't you feel ashamed? It was just lending him your prosthesis. What's the big deal? I'm not asking you to break a leg. Who are you showing disdain to?" I listened to her accusations expressionlessly, giving no response. "I asked you a question. Are you mute?" Astrid threw her coat at me. A faint smell of tobacco and men's perfume came from it. I frowned. "You'd better be careful next time. Jonathan is young. You should give in to him. Or don't blame me for being rude. I threw the coat aside and nodded. Okay, I understand. If there's nothing else, I'll rest. I stood up and limped to the bedroom. Astrid stared at me with an ugly expression. As we passed, I heard her mutter, "A cripple can't even see his own place." I paused but didn't stay. I lay on the bed, closed my eyes, and forced myself to calm my chaotic thoughts. "I just borrowed your prosthesis to look at." Her words and expression showed no guilt, as if it was normal. But for me, the prosthesis is my leg, though it has no sensation. It's what Astrid saved to buy for me. She said she didn't want others to look at me strangely and hoped I could stand. I was so moved that even when the prosthesis wore out, I repaired it repeatedly, reluctant to replace it. I still remember the day she gave me the gift box. When I opened it and saw the prosthesis, my eyes widened. "Come on, try it." She gently helped me put it on and supported my arm. "Brian, come on, stand up." Her encouragement rekindled hope in my heart. With her support, I slowly stood from the wheelchair. At that moment, I completely regained the courage to live. But now, a little boy who had only been by her side for a few months, with just a few words, could make me take off the prosthesis I cherished like a treasure and let him play with it. She seemed to have forgotten its importance and what it meant to me. In the living room, I heard Astrid laughing happily. It sounded like she was sending a voice message to someone. Her voice was sticky and overly sweet, like a shy little girl. At the same time, Jonathan sent me another message, a screenshot of their conversation. The messages were full of ambiguity. Finally, Astrid sent him a teasing message. "Go to bed early and get enough rest, so you won't be out of energy next time." I stared at the screen blankly. Soon after, Jonathan sent me another provocative message. "Brother Brian, please take care of my sister-in-law and let her go to bed early. Don't keep chatting with me." Expressionless, I turned off my phone. Out of sight, out of mind. After the sound of water came from the bathroom, the door to the master bedroom slammed shut. Astrid and I had stopped sleeping together long ago. Thinking back, it seemed to have started when Jonathan had just joined the company. Something inside me had been fading bit by bit. I didn't seem to love her that much anymore. When I got up the next day, Astrid had already left. I prepared my resignation letter and asked a lawyer to draft a divorce agreement. Returning to the company, I saw Astrid standing next to Jonathan's workstation. He was gently holding her slim waist in a suggestive way, as if no one else was around. In the past, I would have been furious. But now, seeing such a scene, I felt nothing at all. I was about to leave, but Jonathan noticed me. "Hey, brother Brian, why are you so late? Was the pressure too much for you last night? Didn't sleep well?" he said, raising his eyebrows suggestively. Before I could respond, Astrid looked at me discontentedly. "Day after day, relying on your status. You can't even follow basic rules anymore? Keep this up and you'll be packing your things." I looked at the two of them, acting like husband and wife. And after a long pause, I smiled and said, "I'm sorry, Ms. Astrid. I'll be more careful next time." Astrid's face darkened immediately, clearly dissatisfied with my response. She was right. In the past, I rarely addressed her so formally. This sudden formality must have made her uncomfortable. I ignored her reaction and returned to my workstation, determined to finish my remaining tasks. Even though I was about to leave, I wanted to remain professional. After all, I had devoted a lot to this company, both my time and emotions. During the lunch break, I dragged myself downstairs to eat. As soon as I stepped out, I saw Astrid's car parked outside the company. "Make way," Jonathan said smugly as he brushed past me and headed for the driver's seat. Astrid slipped naturally into the passenger seat. When they passed by me, Jonathan rolled down the window and teased, "Brother Brian, Astrid and I are going for Japanese food. Want to join us?" As he spoke, he deliberately stroked Astrid's thigh wrapped in black stockings. She didn't react at all. I sneered and shook my head. "I'm not fond of raw food. You two go ahead," I said, turning away without looking back. I hadn't walked far when I vaguely heard Astrid's impatient voice behind me. "Why bother with such a bumpkin? He'll never be presentable in his life." I quickened my pace, distancing myself from the noise. During lunch, I saw Jonathan's new social media post. My sister actually gave me a watch worth $300. Oh my God, I love my good sister so much. I raised my eyebrows. She was being really generous. In the picture, Astrid was gently holding Jonathan's hand, a green submariner watch shining on his wrist. I thought back to when my career was just starting. I once wanted to buy myself a gift, a nice watch or a good computer. But Astrid strongly objected. She said gaming would kill my ambition, and that men who bought expensive watches were shallow show-offs. Brian, you must never become that kind of man. I hate superficial guys the most, she had said. That day, I used my hard-earned savings to buy her a luxury bag instead. She was overjoyed, hugging and kissing me, her eyes sparkling with happiness. From that moment on, I stopped treating myself, but now, she seemed perfectly happy in the arms of the very kind of man she once despised. People really do change. I turned off my phone, took a deep breath, and forced myself to let them go. When I got home from work and was changing clothes, there was a knock on the door. It was the delivery guy, bringing loads of food. Astrid had placed the order. She used to do that on the 1st and 15th of every month to stock the fridge. She loved good food, especially the dishes I made. After years of marriage, I often cooked for her. She would stand by the kitchen door, watching me with admiration, saying I was the perfect family man. I would feed her a bite of food, and she would giggle like a little girl, then kiss me hard on the cheek. She often said I cooked even better than a professional chef. Thinking of this, I felt a pang of emotion. But when I opened the packages, a strong fishy smell hit me. Astrid hated offal and fishy foods. Why had she ordered these? I double-checked the address. It was definitely mine. Had they sent the wrong order? I picked up the bag, planning to go to the store listed on the receipt to ask. Unexpectedly, I ran into Astrid and Jonathan there. Jonathan, you've been working so hard lately. I bought you lots of supplements. I even have a membership card here. So come anytime you need something, Astrid said sweetly. Jonathan was carrying an armful of kidney tonic supplements. Smiling ambiguously, he leaned in close and whispered something into Astrid's ear, making her blush and shyly pat his chest. Their atmosphere was unbearably intimate. If the waiter hadn't suddenly called out to me, they might have headed straight to a hotel. Brother Brian, long time no see. Looking for something? The waiter asked loudly. Startled, the two quickly separated. Astrid's face twisted into anger as she stormed toward me. Brian, what's wrong with you? Are you following me? Are you done yet? She yelled. I didn't respond. I simply glanced at the supplements Jonathan was holding and thought about what they had just said. I couldn't help but laugh coldly and shake my head. It turned out that these things were not prepared for her in the first place. No wonder I'm not that idle. I just suddenly received a bunch of smelly food and thought it was sent to the wrong place. So I came to ask. I shook the bag in front of Astrid. Now it seems that I didn't buy the wrong thing. So it's okay. You guys continue. After that, I turned around to leave. But Astrid grabbed my arm. Her eyes were full of anger, as if she had suffered some great injustice. Don't go too far. Brother Jonathan and I have nothing. Don't use that dirty look to disgust us. I looked at her puzzledly and touched my chin. I don't think I said anything. Why are you in such a hurry? Astrid was stunned and let go of my hand. I took the opportunity to stride away. I don't know since when. Seeing the two of them behaving ambiguously, I felt nothing in my heart. It turns out that when you don't love someone, everything becomes so easy. In the evening, after Astrid came home, she didn't quarrel with me for the first time, but walked into the bathroom by herself. I ignored her, but after the sound of water in the bathroom stopped, she walked into my room with a bath towel wrapped around her. As she walked, I could clearly see her looming buttocks and her towering chest that could not be covered no matter what. After getting closer, I smelled a faint scent of perfume. She still remembered that this was my favorite one. Hubby, did you miss me? She showed me a charming smile, gently took off the bath towel, revealing her jade-like body, climbed onto the bed and hugged me from behind. I know you have some misunderstandings about me and Jonathan recently, but I hope you understand that there is really nothing between us. I just think he has outstanding abilities and want to promote him. Seeing that I didn't react, she changed the subject. By the way, we haven't had a husband and wife moment for a long time. I really want you. She held my hand and pressed it on her chest. With her charming voice, my heart was also shaken. No one can let go of things like feelings. In my disabled and self-destructive dark past, Astrid is the only light in my life. She gave me the hope to survive and the love that asked for nothing in return. The time I have known her for these years has a unique place in my heart. As her hand reached into my pajamas, I could no longer hold back and held her in my arms. Astrid also kissed me passionately on the mouth and even got up and sat on my waist, planning the next move. But at this moment, an inopportune cell phone ring rang. She immediately regained her composure, got up from me, picked up the phone, and I don't know what she said on the other end. Her face turned ugly. After saying, "Wait for me," she quickly put on her clothes. I had a bad feeling in my heart. What's wrong? Jonathan is not feeling well. I have to go see him. She put on her clothes in a panic, closed the door and left without looking back. There was still an ambiguous afterglow in the room. The enthusiasm that rushed to my head quickly faded. I sighed, tidied my clothes, and tossed and turned in bed, unable to fall asleep for a long time. At this moment, Jonathan sent a message. "Brother Brian, I'm not feeling well, so please ask Sister Astrid to take care of me. Don't think too much. Nothing will happen between us." I looked at my phone for a long time and sent a line of words. "Jonathan, you win." Astrid did not come home all night again. I had no intention of listening to her perfunctory explanation. I just nodded perfunctorily and did not take it to heart. I packed all my luggage and booked a flight to the city where Michael was located the next day. Then, I went to the company to hand over the work at hand and submitted my resignation application. Before leaving, I went to the cemetery where my grandmother was buried and sat quietly for the whole afternoon. I sat on the steps in front of the tombstone, chatting with my grandmother from time to time, watching the clouds rolling in the sky. My heart was surprisingly calm without the slightest fluctuation. I did not feel any reluctance or regret. My heart seemed to have no feelings, as if it had become numb. The sky gradually darkened. I returned home and opened the door. The house had changed completely and was full of people. The house was decorated very delicately. Balloons, flowers, and gifts filled the coffee table. A banner with the words, "Happy Birthday," was hung in the middle of the living room. The scene in front of me made me a little dazed. "Yo, Brother Brian is back. Come quickly. It's my birthday today. Sister Astrid said she would hold a party for me." She came over with a smile and raised an eyebrow at me. I walked into the house and saw that the dining table in the living room was filled with all kinds of dishes. These were all made by Sister Astrid. She said she would show me her skills. "Brother Brian, you don't know how much I envy you for marrying such a considerate wife." He said he envied her, but his words were full of boasting. I was indifferent to his little tricks and turned to go back to the room. But after a few steps, I noticed the scene in the corner of the room. My feet froze in place. Noticing my sight, Jonathan's eyes flashed with pride. "Oh, by the way, I accidentally knocked that one off just now. I wanted to clean it up, but Sister Astrid said it was unlucky and wouldn't let me touch it." "Brother Brian, don't mind it." In the corner, there was a broken portrait of my grandmother. The mirror fragments were scattered all over the floor. I could even clearly see the big black footprints on the photo. Listening to Jonathan's nonchalant tone beside me, I could no longer suppress my anger. I turned around and punched him hard on his disgusting smiling face. A hint of hidden pride flashed in Jonathan's eyes. He didn't dodge or evade, and was hit hard. He yelled exaggeratedly, fell to the ground with his head raised. I didn't care and rode on him, with fists falling like raindrops. He covered his face and let out a muffled scream. Hearing the noise, Astrid poked her head out and her face changed. "Brian, are you crazy? Stop it." She rushed over quickly and hit me hard on the face with the hot shovel in her hand. Then she pushed me away and helped Jonathan up from the ground. I stared at them with red eyes. "What did you do to my grandmother's photo? It's just a photo. Is there any need to make such a fuss? I think you are just twisted and can't stand seeing other healthy people. Right?" Astrid roared at me angrily. Then helped Jonathan up and left home quickly. I limped to the corner, knelt on the ground, and carefully packed up my grandmother's portrait. After wiping off the stains on it, I put it in the suitcase. Then, I sat in the living room and slept all night. Early the next morning, I picked up the suitcase and took a last look at the house where I had lived for many years. After putting down the divorce agreement, I pulled the suitcase and strode away without looking back. "Astrid, since you want freedom, then I will set you free." Before boarding the plane, I blocked the contact information of Astrid and Jonathan. Then, after a good sleep, I opened my eyes again and the plane had landed. Outside the airport, Michael was already waiting on the roadside. He took the suitcase from my hand and opened his mouth, as if he wanted to say something. But in the end, he just patted my shoulder with a relieved smile. "I feel relieved to have you around. Let's join forces to become bigger and stronger and create greater glory." I also smiled, and I had a little more expectation and prospect for future development in my heart. Michael was well prepared and took me to his company as soon as possible to quickly handle the onboarding process. After a brief familiarization with the business content, I joined the software development project. In the days that followed, I devoted myself to work. When galloping in the ocean of code, I felt that I had found the comfortable mood again. Not only did my thinking become more active, but all kinds of wonderful ideas also kept bursting out. New colleagues also looked at me with admiration. "No wonder President Wang praised you so much. You are really a capable person." I just smiled at this. I like my life now. After the project was successfully completed, Michael not only gave my team a large bonus, but also held a celebratory banquet. Naturally, I became the protagonist, thinking back to the cold eyes and ridicule I suffered in the company. I couldn't help but chuckle and shake my head. After the celebratory banquet, I walked out of the restaurant. The cool evening breeze blew on my face, which made me sober up. Suddenly, a black shadow rushed across the slope. "Brian, you actually hid here." It was Astrid. I don't know how she found this place. I haven't seen her for many days. She looked a lot more haggard. The look she gave me was full of anger. "You've had enough of making trouble. Come home with me." She grabbed my arm and was about to get in the car. At this moment, I was completely sober. I shook off her arm, took 2 steps back, and looked at her coldly. Astrid's eyes flashed with disbelief. "What do you mean?" I looked at her with a flat tone. "Didn't I put the divorce agreement on the table? Don't you understand what it means? Let's get divorced." Astrid's eyes widened. "Are you really going to divorce me?" I had a blank expression on my face. Did I look like I was joking? While I was talking, I stopped a taxi, opened the door and got in. But Astrid followed closely behind. Her eyes were full of unwillingness. Obviously, she was unwilling to accept what I said. "Brian, you." I put on headphones to block her words. She stopped talking and sat beside me with her head down. I don't know what she was thinking. After getting off the car, she still followed me all the way to my residence. I blocked her outside the door. "Don't follow me. Instead of wasting time, you might as well sign the divorce agreement quickly." The blood on Astrid's face faded and her lips trembled slightly. It seemed that she finally believed that I was not joking with her anymore. I don't agree. I won't divorce you. If you don't let me in, I will sit here all night." She tried to make me compromise in this unreasonable way. In the past, as long as she acted a little coquettishly, I would immediately give in and obey her wishes. Especially after the young and handsome Jonathan entered the company. Astrid's preference for him made Jonathan superior to me in every way. And even the credit for work was taken away by him. At the celebratory banquet, the program was originally made by me. But under Astrid's operation, it became the achievement of Jonathan. She even indulged Jonathan to humiliate me in public, trampled my love and self-esteem under his feet, and ground them bit by bit. Fortunately, I chose to withdraw and leave. And then I was able to get rid of the heavy haze in my heart. When I was busy with work, Michael suddenly came over and patted my shoulder with a complicated expression. "Brother Ben, Astrid is clamoring to find you at the front desk. Go and see her." I rubbed my eyebrows a little irritably. When I arrived at the front desk, Astrid was busy arguing with the front desk. When she saw me, she immediately put on a fake smile. "Brian, look, this is the lunchbox I made for you myself. You always didn't eat well when you were working before. If this goes on for a long time, your stomach will not be able to bear it. Don't worry, I have fired Jonathan. He won't come to disturb our lives again in the future." I sighed and turned down the lunchbox she handed over. "No, keep it for yourself. I don't need it." Astrid's smile froze on her face. Then, her eyes were covered with a layer of mist. She walked up to me and tried to hug me, apologizing non-stop. "I'm sorry, Brian. I really know I was wrong. Don't be angry anymore." I took a step back. The irritation in my heart reached its limit. "Astrid, how many times do you want me to tell you that we are over? Don't do these useless things and don't disturb my life anymore." This is the first time I have spoken to her in such a serious tone. Astrid was stunned. Tears kept sliding down her cheeks. "Go away. Don't make it too ugly." After I said this, I directly ordered in front of the security guard to kick her out if she comes again. Astrid wanted to say something else, but the security guard had already come in front of her. "Ma'am, don't cause trouble for us." I thought this rejection would make Astrid give up, but I didn't expect that she would actually wait for me at the door of my house. "Brian, you're back. I went to buy a lot of vegetables again. I'll show you my skills tonight." Astrid came running towards me, holding 2 large bags in her hands, which contained all kinds of food ingredients. For a moment, I was a little dazed, thinking that I had returned to the past, when we first met. But reality is reality after all. I shook my head. "I'm sorry. I don't need it." She pushed hard against my door, her body wedged in the doorframe, with a look of never giving up. After a standoff, I had to give up. Astrid immediately rushed into the house and ran straight to the kitchen without looking back. Not long after, the table was filled with delicious dishes. Try it, try it." Astrid took off her apron and looked at me expectantly. Looking into her eyes, I was a little dazed. She was like this when we first got together. Every time she did something, she would look at me expectantly, as if asking for praise. She would use her actions to take care of me, a disabled person, which made me love her wholeheartedly for so many years. Seeing that I was reluctant to pick up my chopsticks, Astrid's smile slowly disappeared, and her voice trembled slightly when she spoke. "Brian, we have been together for so many years. I really can't bear to leave you." After a moment, she forced herself to cheer up and smiled at me. "I won't give up. I will make you start over." I didn't say anything. A unique ringtone rang. Astrid froze and hesitated for a moment. She walked to the balcony and answered the phone. I almost immediately understood who was on the other end of the phone from her cautious demeanor. I smiled sarcastically and was about to go back to the house when the doorbell rang. I stood up and opened the door. The door opened, and before I could react, a dark shadow rushed over and pushed me to the ground. I was caught off guard and fell heavily to the ground. The prosthetic of my right leg also fell out. "Brian, why are you so lingering? Didn't you say you wanted a divorce? Why did you bring Astrid home? Do you think I don't know what you are thinking?" The person who came in scolded me. Astrid screamed and ran over to support me. I pushed her away, stood up with the help of the wall, and looked at the 2 people in front of me coldly. "How did you find this place?" "Nonsense. Astrid's phone had already shared its location to me. I know everything about her." Jonathan looked very proud. The look he gave me was full of mockery. You shut up." Astrid was furious, but the way she concealed it made it seem like she was trying to cover up something. I smiled faintly, and the hesitation that she had just aroused in my heart disappeared in an instant. "I won't snatch Astrid from you. I don't love her anymore. She is the one who insisted on pestering me. As long as she signs the divorce agreement, there will be no connection between us." Having said that, I directly issued an eviction order. "Now, get out of here, or I will sue you for trespassing." Jonathan was stunned for a moment and sneered. "You are quite sensible. You know that you are a jerk. So shut up." Before he could finish, Astrid screamed, raised her hand, and slapped him hard in the face. Jonathan's face was full of disbelief. "Who are you? How dare you interfere in the affairs between me and my husband?" Jonathan gritted his teeth and looked at me with resentment and malice. I called 110 directly. The 2 of us went out reluctantly. Then, I threw all the food on the table into the trash can. There was a fierce quarrel outside the door. There was no movement until the sound of sirens started. I briefly explained the situation to the police and expressed my gratitude to them. Astrid was still lingering around. She was afraid that I would call the police, so she no longer waited at my doorstep, but waited for me downstairs in my company. "Brian, I brought you breakfast." I took the bag from her hand and threw it into the trash can. "Don't bother me anymore. You've been out for so long. Don't you care about the company's affairs?" I went upstairs and left Astrid alone in a daze. I once thought that she and I would be happy for life. But in the end, she still couldn't resist the temptation of the person who came after her. I was disappointed with her betrayal again and again. Over time, the years of affection also dissipated. Not long after, it started to drizzle. Astrid stood in the rain with no intention of leaving. I received a message from an unfamiliar number. "Can you come down and see me?" I looked at the figure in the rain and replied calmly, "Don't humiliate yourself. Go back quickly." I put down my phone and no longer paid attention to downstairs. After a while, the rain gradually got heavier. When I passed by the window, I glanced downstairs. Astrid's figure had disappeared. I breathed a sigh of relief. But when I got off work, I received a call from the hospital. "Mr. Bryan, is that so? Your wife is in the hospital. Could you please come over now?" After the call was hung up, I suppressed my inner irritability, picked up the printed divorce agreement, and ran to the hospital. Astrid fainted in the rain and was taken to the hospital by passers-by. When I arrived, she was lying on the hospital bed. The blush on her face had not yet faded. When she saw me, a smile appeared on her lips. "Bryan, I knew you would come." Before I could say anything, a voice came from outside the door. "Sister Astrid, I'm here. Jonathan is here." When he saw me, he didn't think twice and immediately punched me. "It was you again." He punched me angrily. This time, I didn't want to indulge him anymore. So I dodged directly and punched him in the nose. Jonathan screamed and fell on his back. I pounced on him, rode on him, and punched him angrily. Soon, he couldn't stand it anymore and lay on the ground groaning. I stood up and put the divorce agreement in front of Astrid. "Sign it, Astrid. Don't force me to hate you." Astrid's face turned pale. Perhaps I couldn't see any love in my eyes anymore. Maybe my attitude was too cold. Or maybe she was worried that I would hurt Jonathan. Astrid finally picked up the pen and tremblingly wrote her name on the agreement. "See you at the Civil Affairs Bureau." After getting the divorce agreement, I left this sentence, ignored Jonathan who was lying on the ground with a face full of resentment, turned around, and strode away. A month later, I got the divorce certificate as I wished. Outside the Civil Affairs Bureau, Astrid looked tired and looked at me sadly. "Bryan, don't be so intimate. Just call me by my full name." I interrupted her directly. Astrid's face froze, and she said bitterly, "Okay, Mr. Bryan, can we have dinner together?" I shook my head decisively. "From now on, we will no longer have any relationship." I looked at Jonathan, who was hiding behind the tree. With a cold tone, "Don't blame me for being rude if you come to trouble me again in the future." After that, I got up and left, feeling relaxed all over. I no longer have any nostalgia for the past. The road ahead is long, but there are no more ghosts and monsters around me. The end.